Hi, everybody. Hola, ¿nos escuchan? Saludos a Chitré. Ahí veo que David se está conectando. La altiva provincia. Qué contentas de verlos a todos. ¿Nos escuchan bien?
Sí, sí se la escucha.
Perfecto.
Ok. Vamos a tratar de mantenerlos en mute. Hilda está en la sede de... Luis, Hilda va a hablar. La espero. Ok. We're going to wait. The dean is in person in the main auditorium. So it's an interesting. It's the first time we do a setup like this. So
Del director Edwin Rey.
bienvenidos, Colón. So we have many provinces represented. David, Chiriquí, Kaylee is the province, and Renato is the province close to Costa Rica. And then we have Colón. We have the Panama Canal expansion. It's also in that province, a very important province for us in the West Coast. And then we have Chitré. La península de Azuero representada. So they're part of our peninsula. This is great.
Sí. Gladys, ¿me escuchan?
Perfecto.
Excelente. Buenas tardes a todos. Respetadas autoridades de la Universidad Católica Santa María la Antigua, directores de escuela de la Facultad de Ingeniería y Tecnología, directores de la sede David, sede Colón, sede Chitré y sede Santiago. A las sedes les agradecemos que mantengan sus cámaras encendidas para poder verles. Representantes de la Universidad de Notre Dame, Study USA, la Embajada de Estados Unidos y a nuestros apreciados amigos, la Facultad de Ingeniería y Tecnología, representada desde inicios de la USMA, hace 60 años, está ofreciendo sus carreras de licenciatura y posgrado en las especialidades de Ingeniería Civil, Ingeniería Industrial, Administrativa, Ingeniería Electrónica y Sistemas, Ingeniería de Recursos Naturales, Ingeniería de Producción Animal. Estos programas se desarrollan en todas nuestras sedes de acuerdo a las especialidades y las especialidades de sus campus. A través de la plataforma virtual, hoy nos conectamos todos para conocer los detalles de la convocatoria iSURE, a las cuales ustedes, los estudiantes, van a concursar para obtener el beneficio de viajar a la Universidad de Notre Dame en el año 2025. Ha sido un esfuerzo conjunto de representantes de la Universidad de Notre Dame, Study USA, de la Embajada de Estados Unidos, del CENACYT y Ciudad del Saber. Todos ellos han unido sus esfuerzos para hacer esto una realidad y hoy iniciamos este viaje desde la semana pasada se convocó, se realizó la convocatoria y ustedes tienen todos los requisitos. Por eso hoy nos reunimos para conocer detalles de esta convocatoria. Les insto y motivo a que participen todas esas dudas y consultas que han tenido a través de estos días desde que se hizo la convocatoria. Les agradezco que hoy la eleven a los representantes que están conectados virtualmente para atenderles. Estamos seguros que ustedes van a aprovechar esta oportunidad porque son estudiantes con valores, principios y esta formación integral que día tras día y a través de los años ustedes reciben vamos a lograr que sea un aporte significativo, porque ahora de manera internacional van a tener la oportunidad de tratar con pares y con profesores de la Universidad de Notre Dame. Y vamos a lograr promover esa cultura integral capaz de formar personas que se distinguen por sus conocimientos científicos, humanísticos, para dar testimonio de fe con los valores cristianos, creando una sociedad más justa y fraterna, que es la misión de la USMA. Por eso ahora le vamos a dar la palabra al doctor Luis Pinzón, quien es profesor de la Facultad de Ingeniería y Tecnología y egresado nuestro también, para que le dé detalles de esta convocatoria. Antes, agradezco a Dios y a todas las personas que de una manera u otra han colaborado para hacer este sueño realidad. Muchas gracias a todos ustedes por su entusiasmo, por participar, por estar cada uno en sus sedes. Seguimos avanzando con la guía y modelo de nuestro Padre Celestial y la Virgen. Que tengan todos unas buenas noches, aprovechen esta oportunidad y disfrutemos porque solo participar es una experiencia extraordinaria que forma parte de esa formación integral que la USMA trabaja con ustedes día a día. A los profesores y a los directores de sede, gracias por acompañar a los estudiantes de Ingeniería y Tecnología en este inicio de este viaje que de seguro es altamente gratificante y provechoso. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, decana, por sus palabras. Buenas tardes a todas las autoridades de la universidad que nos acompañan, a nuestros profesores administrativos y un saludo muy especial a nuestros estudiantes de la USMA, de la Facultad de Ingeniería y Tecnología, los que nos acompañan presencialmente desde el Tomás Clavel en Ciudad de Panamá, en las diferentes sedes regionales y los que nos siguen por vía telemática. Mi nombre es Luis Pinzón y soy el responsable del Centro de Investigación Científica y Tecnológica de esta universidad. Hoy nos acompañan Renato Mejía, que es director del Global Engagement Programs de la Universidad de Notre Dame. También nos acompaña Kaylee Preston, que es Assistant Director del Global Engagement Programs de la Universidad de Notre Dame. Y Gladys Bernet, que es Senior Advisor de Education USA en Panamá, partners de esta convocatoria. Aprovecho este espacio para hacer el lanzamiento oficial de la convocatoria de becas para estudiantes de licenciatura de la Facultad de Ingeniería y Tecnología de la USMA para participar en el programa de experiencia internacional de investigación iSURE en la Universidad de Notre Dame. Para hablarles un poco de esta convocatoria, nace de un esfuerzo conjunto de la Universidad de Notre Dame, Education USA, Ciudad del Saber y la USMA, específicamente de la Facultad de Ingeniería y Tecnología, la Dirección de Investigación y el Centro de Investigación Científica y Tecnológica, donde a través de la Secretaría Nacional de Ciencia, Tecnología e Innovación se consiguieron fondos para el financiamiento y poder ofrecerle a los estudiantes de la Facultad de Ingeniería y Tecnología de esta universidad la oportunidad de participar en el programa iSURE en la Universidad de Notre Dame con todos los gastos pagos. Este programa brinda a estudiantes internacionales de licenciatura a través de una estancia de 8 semanas la oportunidad de realizar investigaciones en la Universidad de Notre Dame. Los estudiantes adquirirán valiosas experiencias prácticas en investigación y se expondrán a diversas áreas de estudio. Trabajarán de cerca con profesores y estudiantes de Notre Dame en una variedad de proyectos de investigación en curso. Entre los beneficios que van a tener los estudiantes que participen de esta convocatoria, podemos mencionar la asistencia con el visado, no tendrá un costo para los becarios seleccionados, habrá una cobertura total del costo del programa universitario, incluyendo seguros médicos y alimentación, vuelos ida y vuelta, transporte al aeropuerto, viáticos complementarios, experiencia internacional y certificado de la Universidad de Notre Dame. Y también habrá convalidación de pasantías a través de materias de libre elección. Todos los estudiantes que están interesados en participar en esta convocatoria deben acceder a un forms mediante el QR que está en pantalla, y al entrar a ese QR les va a aparecer, un segundo, déjenme compartirles el form para que los tengan. Les va a aparecer el siguiente form. Es importante que todos los estudiantes que ingresen, como son todos estudiantes de la Facultad de Ingeniería y Tecnología de la USMA, deben ingresar con su respectivo correo electrónico de la universidad para que tengan acceso. Si intentan acceder mediante o utilizando otro correo electrónico, no van a poder acceder al form. Por eso es importante que ingresen con su email de la universidad. El form básicamente tiene información relevante de la convocatoria al inicio y seguidamente solamente tienen que llenar nombre completo, cédula, correo electrónico, seleccionar la carrera en la que están desarrollando y seguidamente adjuntar un solo documento en PDF que cuente con un ensayo o carta motivacional en inglés, hoja de vida, referencia del índice académico, certificado de idioma inglés, evidencia de actividades de investigación. Es opcional. Cualquier duda, comentario, pregunta que tengan, o inclusive si tienen problemas al acceder al form y al poder subir los documentos, no duden en contactarse directamente al correo de la dirección de investigación que aparece en el flyer de la convocatoria. Ahí se los comparto nuevamente. En la parte inferior del flyer hay un correo electrónico en donde podrán enviar todas sus dudas, preguntas, y si hace falta se le asiste para el proceso de participar en la convocatoria. Okay. Sin más, le cedo la palabra a mi compañera Gladys Burnett de Education USA para que nos converse un poco de qué cuenta Education USA y cómo ellos lo pueden apoyar en este proceso y en otros procesos para otros programas de becas. Saludos.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Saludos a todos. Yo soy Gladys Bernet, la representante de Education USA. Nosotros tenemos para ustedes información y recursos para que puedan acceder y estudiar en los Estados Unidos. I'm very happy to be here and helping introduce then our colleagues from the University of Notre Dame. Nosotros tenemos recursos, no sé si están familiarizados con Education USA, tenemos recursos gratuitos para estudiantes de Panamá para que puedan estudiar en los Estados Unidos. Les voy a compartir rapidito los cursos que tenemos ahorita mismo para ustedes. Tenemos cursos todos los lunes y miércoles. Tenemos sesiones informativas para prepararlos para el examen de TOEFL y para los ensayos. Esta información se las estoy compartiendo porque es pertinente a la información que van a aprender hoy con Kelly acerca de los requisitos para esta convocatoria corta. Aunque esta sesión la estamos haciendo específicamente para estas 8 semanas en la Universidad de Notre Dame. Education USA provee esta ayuda para las maestrías. en las diferentes áreas del conocimiento. Así que yo no me quiero extender y lo estoy haciendo así a propósito porque para esta convocatoria es muy importante que escuchen de Kelly Preston acerca de los consejos que ella les va a dar para aterrizar una excelente aplicación. Y esos consejos, yo prefiero que sea ella que está con nosotros hoy conectada desde South Bend, Indiana, que sea la que le provee estos tips para su aplicación. Si tienen cualquier consulta en Education USA a través de mi persona, les voy a poner aquí la información de contacto de nuestras redes sociales y nuestro correo electrónico. Y voy a asegurarme que tanto la decana Hilda, que le agradecemos esta gran convocatoria, y a Luis, al doctor Pinzón, que gracias a él realmente pudimos conseguir los fondos de Senacid. Ha sido un trabajo en conjunto y es un trabajo que ya lleva un par de años. Ha requerido muchísimo trabajo realmente poder traerles esta oportunidad a todos los estudiantes a nivel nacional, y queremos que realmente la aprovechen. Así que estamos aquí para apoyarlos y para que sigan alcanzando sus sueños. Yo quisiera entonces vamos a pasar a inglés para que Kelly nos dé todos los tips que nos va a dar referente a esta convocatoria, y de tener alguna consulta, ya saben que pueden contar con nosotros. So Kaylee, Preston, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you because I do think that's important to get you the time that you have to give all the advice for students, and then we will have Q&A at the end. Así que no sean penosos para hacer las preguntas, las pueden hacer en español al final de la intervención de Kelly. Y estamos aquí para contestar preguntas acerca de la aplicación y acerca de Notre Dame también.
Great, so I will get my screen shared, and we're going to do a hard switch to English. It's been a very long time since I've taken a Spanish class, and we will be here all night if I try to speak in Spanish for any portion of this. So let me get my computer all ready. All right, and thank you very much, Gladys and Luis, for the invitation. We're really excited to present to you, to share more about our university, and of course, the iSURE program. So I'll first talk a little bit about our university and what makes us unique, and then I'll talk about the iSURE program. And then, as Gladys mentioned, at the end, I will talk about what makes a good application specifically for the iSURE program, and specifically for programs such as ours in the United States, because there are a few differences. So again, my name is Kaylee Preston. I'm the Assistant Director of Global Engagement Programs here at Notre Dame. And a huge portion of my job is welcoming students to campus during the summer. So my summer is always very, very busy, very, very fun, welcoming students like yourself to campus and sharing everything that we love about Notre Dame and the United States. So just a little bit about our team. We are a small but mighty team, and I'm joined tonight by Renato Mejia. He is the director of our global engagement programs, is really in the trenches with me in the summer, but we also are joined by Hong Zhu. She's our senior director of global education, and then Megan Knobloch, who's another assistant director on our team. So if you do come to Notre Dame, you'll get to meet them as well, and they are all here to make your experience at Notre Dame the best, the absolute best it can be. So Renato is our resident Spanish speaker, so he will be joining us later in the Q&A to help kind of explain some things in Spanish if that's helpful, but he is on the call as well. All right, just a little bit about Notre Dame. First, you'll see Discover Your Home Under the Dome, and we say that because the centerpiece of our campus is the Golden Dome, and that was in the first slide. This is kind of the heart of campus, and it's the most iconic landmark on our campus, but also one of the most photographed collegiate architecture in the United States. That's always a fun fact. I'll be walking to get my lunch, and tourists from all across the United States are asking if I can take a picture of them in front of the dome. So hopefully you guys will be able to have your own picture in front as well. To start a little bit about Notre Dame, I'd like to show what any given day would look like at the university. So it's just a very brief clip showing what a normal day is like.
It's not necessarily the storytelling, football every Saturday, the Basilica, the touchdown Jesus shot. It is that. Notre Dame will always be that, but it's also so much more. Again, just a very brief overview, but from that minute and 15 seconds, you can tell that we have a very, very vibrant campus community with many things going on, something for everyone. I won't make you watch it again. So the first thing that really sets Notre Dame apart, and I think you would hear this as the first answer to anyone at Notre Dame that you'd ask, is that community is so important at Notre Dame. People really look out for each other. Once you're part of the Notre Dame family, you are part of the family forever. And that is true for myself as a staff member, for our students that come, for alumni that have been out of the university for 50 years, but community is really, really important to us, looking out for one another and just having that spirit as well. We are very strong in our academics. We are consistently ranked in the top 20 universities in the United States, and even higher in our undergraduate education. So we have a very small student to faculty ratio, meaning that there are very few students per faculty, and that means that you get a really individualized experience at Notre Dame. Professors know your name, they know what you want to do after graduation, and they're really there to help you succeed, and that is reflected in our academics. We are a very multicultural campus. We have students from over 90 countries at any given time, more so in the summer. We have a lot of students visiting from many, many different countries. So it's really nice to learn more about other cultures, also different ways of life, but also to celebrate your own culture as well. Like iSURE, we have a lot of research going on at any given time on campus. So research is something that the university is really prioritizing. So it's really exciting to be a part of iSURE and promote that. So the university can live up to its motto of being a force for good in the world. So not just learning for the sake of knowledge, but also to make the world a better place. So that is really nice as well. We are a Catholic university founded by the Congregation of Holy Cross by a French priest. And spirituality is something that guides a lot of our campus community. You do not have to be Catholic to go to Notre Dame or to participate in any of our programs, but the option is there if you would like to explore your faith, deepen your faith. We have a beautiful church on campus, some beautiful chapels and areas of quiet meditation and prayer, but it is something that is very important to our campus community. And last but not least, we are a huge sports school. So in the video, you saw some clips of our American football team. It is huge. Right now, it's American football season. So that is what you watch on Saturdays. If the Fighting Irish are playing, you are watching Fighting Irish football. And you are talking about it in class the next week. I talk about it at work the next week. Football season is the end all be all. And if you're asking yourself, is that Taylor Swift in the box with Go Irish? That is Taylor Swift. One of our fun facts is that her brother went to the University of Notre Dame, and so she's part of the family as well. And when her brother was at the university, she would come to football games, bring her friends like Selena Gomez here. And so that's just another kind of a fun fact about our university, but a testament to how huge our sports are, specifically football. So it's just a little bit more about our campus community and our vibrancy, but we are located in an equally vibrant small town in the United States. We're located in South Bend, Indiana,
So very close to the Michigan border. You could theoretically walk to Michigan from Notre Dame's campus. It's not too far. It's a mid-sized Midwestern city with all of the big city amenities. So we have many parks, restaurants, coffee shops, lots of things to do culturally, like museums, performing arts, theaters, all of that good stuff. We're also in a very beautiful part of the country. We're near a lot of state parks, lakes, beaches. Not beaches, maybe what you're accustomed to, lake beaches, but I'm a little biased. Our beaches are very beautiful as well. And we are located about 2 hours from Chicago. And we have a train that runs from South Bend directly to downtown Chicago. So a lot of our students take advantage of that on the weekends and then get out of South Bend a little bit and explore the big city in Chicago. So that's a little bit about our larger community. And now I'll transition to talking a little bit more about our iSURE program. So again, this program is an 8-week-long research program at the university during the summer, and we primarily have students at the undergraduate level. This is a really great way to gain valuable hands-on scientific experience, especially if you're looking towards something like graduate school. Maybe you're looking towards going into an industry job. This is a great way to gain experience for that. And we do this by matching students either individually or in a very small group with Notre Dame faculty members. So you would be working very, very closely with faculty. They are mentoring you, kind of teaching you the scientific method, kind of coaching you through developing your own research. So it is a very close collaboration with not only the faculty, but also graduate students at the university, postdoctoral researchers, other research associates. So you are really enveloped and welcomed into the research community at Notre Dame. We have several unique research projects each year in multiple departments. These projects are how we match students and faculty. So we talk about projects a lot, like matching your application to a project, but essentially that just means matching to the faculty. So we have several faculty that are really excited to work with students, particularly Latin American students. So it's really, really cool to have this collaboration. As far as outcomes go, students are able to contribute to not only our body of research, but just the body of research in general in their field. And we even have students publish their research with hosting faculty, either as a journal article, maybe they'll go to a conference with their hosting faculty. Some students even come back as graduate students, so either PhD or master's level. So they are able to continue on their research, really make connections and maximize their 8 weeks. So it's not just 8 weeks on campus, but you are continuing that collaboration even when you return to Panama. Our program is not just research, so it's not just research. You're in your lab for 40 hours a week. We do include a lot of social and professional development activities as well, both on and off campus in the community, so you can enhance not only your professional skills, but also you get to meet a lot of new people, people from all over campus that are doing the same thing as you. We also have a lot of different cultural events. Last summer, we took students to an American baseball game. So you get the hot dog, the summer baseball experience, catch a foul ball. We also have taken students to the beach, again, a lake beach, a freshwater beach. So not the ocean beach, but still a beautiful afternoon nonetheless. So yeah, definitely you're not just here doing research, you are here learning about the American experience, the American undergraduate experience as well. And then just in terms of dates, every year our first session runs from June.
Okay, I'm not
Yeah.
able to see your PowerPoint, or is it just me?
Oh. Can anyone else see? Maybe Renato, can you?
See.
Yep,
Oh.
okay, cool.
Okay, good. Okay,
Yeah, and if anything ever kind of bottoms out, let me know and I'm happy to troubleshoot. Yeah. So yeah, our session that we're targeting for the Panamanian students is June 2nd, which is the arrival day, to July 27th, which is the departure day. So within that 8 weeks, it's basically a Monday through Friday schedule working on research, and then weekends are either doing a social event, or you would have the weekends free to spend time with your new friends or with other iSURE students. So it's a little bit about iSURE. And in terms of our admissions requirements, we are a fairly competitive program. So we expect a minimum GPA of 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. This is the typical American scale. We are able to do some conversions if necessary. So if your university or if your transcripts aren't on the 4.0 scale, we are able to do conversions, but we do prefer that the transcripts are on this scale just so it's easier for our faculty to understand as well. We also ask for a high level of English language proficiency, and this is in hopes that the student can be as successful as possible with the faculty. The faculty are expecting students to basically operate as mini graduate students. So really having a high level of English to not only converse in the lab, but maybe help the faculty write a manuscript or a report about the research is really important. So we do have a requirement for English language proficiency. We accept the TOEFL, a score of 90 or above, the IELTS, a 7 or above, or the Duolingo English test, 115 or above. If you do not have one of these scores, we really encourage the Duolingo test. It's much more accessible and much more affordable for students, whereas the TOEFL and the IELTS, you have to oftentimes go and sit for the test in person. Duolingo is proctored entirely virtually, so you're able to take it at home, take it at school, and then it's proctored via your webcam. So that's something that we really encourage as well. So you don't have to worry about scheduling a TOEFL, an in-person TOEFL exam. Other admissions requirements, we require an age of 18 or above, so no minors. And we also ask that students have a strong interest in scientific research and perhaps even an interest in going towards graduate school, a graduate degree in the future. We also look for some level of experience, and I'll talk about that in a couple slides, but it is really helpful to have at least some knowledge of the research process and some experience as well. So again, I'll talk about that in a couple slides. We also look for students that are exceptionally motivated and are very mature and are able to kind of adapt to studying abroad, being in a new country for perhaps the first time, adapting to a new academic culture. So we all look for that as well. Yeah, so that's not as neat as a 3.0 GPA, but it is something that we look for in interviews and in personal statements as well. And then we'll talk about this screen in just a second, but this is what our internal application looks like. So this is something that you would interact with as well. Within that application, so for our internal application that we share with faculty, we ask for a few different things. We ask for a personal statement, a CV, an academic CV, an academic transcript from all of your undergraduate level institutions. So either USMA, or if you started at another university before transferring to USMA, we would ask that we have the transcripts from all of your universities. We don't need secondary school or high school, but definitely from any undergraduate university you've attended. And then a copy of your English proficiency score report. And this can it doesn't have to be the official hard copy. We won't ask you to mail that in. You can scan it in, take a screenshot of the web page, just as long as it has your name and then the score easily visible, we'll accept that. And then as you are filling out your application questionnaire for Notre Dame, so this is just for Notre Dame, not the scholarship application. But just for Notre Dame, we'll have you select your top project choice. This will be what will help you get matched with a faculty. And we can explain that a little bit more as well if you have any questions during the Q&A. All right, so now I'm happy to share some tips on how to strengthen your application and also how to tailor your application to the American undergraduate experience. Something that was really surprising to me as I started working in international education is how different cultures and different countries kind of approach things like resumes, personal statements, and things like that. So I'd like to give you guys kind of a head start in approaching these from like an American point of view. So then the faculty will be more receptive to that as well. My first kind of piece of advice is to gain as much research experience as possible before you submit your application to Notre Dame. And this can be something as extravagant as working as a research assistant for a semester with a faculty. It could be something as minor as just asking a faculty to shadow them for a day. So to kind of observe them and observe kind of how they are working in their lab, how they are working on different types of like data analysis, data collection, just kind of getting that observation. You can also ask your faculty if you can volunteer. Maybe, a faculty doesn't have a paid position to hire you as a research assistant, but maybe they're looking for volunteers. So looking for faculty that would be willing to assist you and kind of allow you to volunteer in their lab is a great first step as well. And when we say that we're looking for some sort of experience, we're not expecting, research at the level of like a graduate student. We're really asking students to show more interest and more engagement with research before they come to Notre Dame. So again, we're not expecting you to be the perfect researcher when you come to Notre Dame, but we do want to see a little bit of engagement with that as in advance of you coming to campus. We also have had a lot of students take the route of building on class projects. So if you are working on a project that you're really interested in and you think you can continue with it, asking your faculty if they can help support you in that, or helping you find different avenues to research the same question, that is great as well. Quite frequently, we see students on their CVs list very big class projects in their research experience. So this is a great thing to highlight if you've really started from scratch. So you've come up with your own research question, you've collected all of the data, you analyzed the data, wrote a report about it. This is something that we would love to see on your CV. So even though it's not a formal research experience outside of class, your class projects can really demonstrate that you have the experience and that you have engaged in some scientific problem solving before. So that's my first tip, is to gain research experience, really leaning into your class projects, trying to continue them, trying to spread the word about them at undergraduate fairs, departmental meetings, any avenue that you think you can get your research out there. I also really encourage reaching out to your faculty for advice. So they were in your shoes at one point and they know what it's like to kind of start building your research. So ask them, is there a place that I can present this? Is there someone that I can talk to about my projects? And then that's kind of how you start your network and how you start gaining your research experience. I also encourage you to gain technical skills in your field as much as possible. So if you are, for example, in computer science, learning things like programming languages, different kind of like hard skills, that's really important to commit to self-study. There are really great resources on YouTube, things like Coursera or Udemy, different kind of self-study resources to allow you to develop those skills if you don't have the opportunity to do that through your coursework. And then also not only just learning them, but also trying to seek out opportunities to apply these technical skills. So either in a class project or by assisting a faculty member with their research projects. I think you would be hard pressed to find a faculty who wouldn't be interested in getting a volunteer. If you're saying, I would love to practice my coding on this project, or I would love to practice this data analysis tool. Can I have a data set to practice on? Can I help you with your data collection? Can I help you with your data analysis? Faculty are going to be pretty excited about that, I would guess. At least faculty at Notre Dame would be happy to have an extra set of hands. So definitely just ask around and really start building that network to give you that research experience and those technical skills that might be lacking from your coursework. A huge part of our application is a personal statement. And this is where you're going to start to explain your research experience, your skills, and what makes you a good candidate for iSURE. The first is how to structure your statement. The first kind of portion is a good introduction. So again, why are you interested in pursuing a research program, and why this specific project? So why this specific faculty member are you, what makes you interested? Why are you kind of looking towards this? The meat of the personal statement is the body. So showcasing your research experience, academic achievement, and skills. So listing all of the things that make you a good candidate, but not only listing them, but also saying why that would be helpful for that project. So for example, in a project, if a faculty member is saying, I need a student who has strong experience in Java, for example, a coding language, and you say, I have, in your personal statement, you would say, I have experience and knowledge of this programming language. I would be a great fit for your project because this is what you're looking for. Or I would be an excellent asset because I have a strong knowledge in this coding language that you are utilizing. So this is, again, not just a list of your achievements, but also how those achievements and skills are going to make you a good candidate. And then lastly, a really strong conclusion, stating your future goals. So maybe this is graduate school, working in industry, etc. But stating your future goals and then explaining how the program will fit in with your future plans is really important as well. The next tip is to be specific and professional. So make sure that you're answering the question, why are you the best candidate for this research project? So maybe put it aside, put your personal statement aside for a day, come back to it, and with fresh eyes think, am I answering this question? So when a faculty is reading it, he or she is looking for evidence that you are going to be successful. So really having that evidence outlined and really convincing the faculty, like making the best case for yourself, is the key with that. Also, in terms of being professional, something that is a little bit different in terms of like the cultural background of a personal statement. In the United States, a research statement is very much just your research, just your academic achievements. It's not personal in the sense of you're talking about your childhood, your hobbies, anything like that. We've received some personal statements where we've learned way too much about the student, but not enough about what makes them a good candidate. So this isn't the place to talk about maybe some like obstacles you've overcome. You know, we've had students write, oh, my parents got divorced when I was a child and it was really hard. And, you know, we feel for that student. Obviously, we're excited that the student is interested in our program, but it's not enough to convince the faculty that they have the skills. So definitely keeping it professional, keeping it really attuned towards you as a researcher is key. Another great skill, especially since this personal statement will be written in English, proofread and revise and proofread and revise and proofread and revise again. Also seek feedback from trusted peers and your faculty mentors, so a faculty that you work well with and trust. Definitely asking not only for grammar and kind of like proper English, but also the content. Again, asking your reviewers, am I answering the question, why am I the best candidate for this research project? The more eyes you have on your personal statement, the better. They'll allow you to see your personal statement in a different light, and then kind of maybe predict how the faculty will receive it as well. And lastly, do not, this is less a suggestion and more of a warning, do not use artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT, because it is very obvious. We get a lot of personal statements that sound exactly alike because they are being generated by a service like ChatGPT. They're too generic, so we want to hear your voice. Even if your English is not 100%, our faculty understand that. Our faculty are really willing to work with international students and know that a little mismatch of English is not the end of the world. They'd rather hear more about you versus just reading something that an AI tool has spit out. So again, just a warning, it's really, really obvious for us because of how generic it is when we get something written from ChatGPT. So just even if it takes a lot of time, just write your personal statement as you and spend a lot of time on it, because our faculty spend a lot of time reading, and this can be, you know, the make or break of a good application. So that's the personal statement. That's one of the key components of the application for iSURE. But the second is a CV. And again, this is another huge area where there are cultural differences in terms of what you put on a CV and what you don't in the United States. But I'll just go through some general advice first. First, tailor your CV to the project. So again, when you see the project and what the faculty is working on, you want to utilize your CV to highlight skills that make you a good candidate for this. So it's not necessarily an exhaustive list of everything you've done, but things that are going to make you stand out and kind of check the boxes, so to speak, for the faculty. So if a faculty is requiring a programming language, definitely put it on your CV and highlight it. Not only just listing it on your skills section, but how did you apply it? So in what experience did you apply this skill? Will make it a bit like take your CV from kind of baseline to a really excellent CV. So definitely tailoring it to the project, highlighting things that the faculty are looking for. Again, emphasizing any research experience, skills, or accomplishments. If you are really good at a certain lab equipment, like you're really proficient in using a certain piece of lab equipment, putting that is really helpful. So faculty know, I don't have to spend time training this student. The student can just jump right in and will be successful. That is really important to faculty as well. Again, keep it professional and concise. Using a clean, readable format. We've had students in the past use like multiple colors and crazy fonts, but this is just, it should look boring. It should just be black and white, one font, standard 12-point font, standard margins. It isn't a flyer. That's what we've had to tell students before. This isn't a flyer advertising you. It's just a list of your accomplishments. And again, kind of making a case of why you're the best candidate for this project. Again, stick to one page. The faculty are reviewing this fairly quickly, and they might not take the time to flip the page. So one page with the highlights is another big piece of advice. Usually you won't see people going on to 2 pages until they're in graduate school or maybe have a PhD. Avoid unnecessary personal information. So I know it can be a cultural thing to include a photo, maybe your marital status. For example, I lived in Germany before I worked at Notre Dame, and on a German CV, you include your photo, you include your age, your marital status, you write what hobbies you have, and that was something very kind of shocking to me as an American, because in America you do not include that. It's actually, I don't want to say illegal, but it's very frowned upon to include things like your age or your marital status. That's considered personal information, and you would never find it on an American CV. So just leaving that off is a good method and a good practice.
Kaylee, if I may just add, I'm gonna go ahead and say in Spanish just in case. Para los que están viendo esta parte, como uno de los requisitos es que llenen la hoja de vida. Esto, Kelly está hablando de hacer una hoja de vida profesional, sencilla. Yo sé que en Panamá a veces tendemos a incluir la foto, tendemos a incluir edad. Nosotros en Education USA, uno de los recursos que tenemos para ustedes es que usamos unos templates de cómo debe ser lo que pide la hoja de vida. Les toca a ustedes llenar la información, eso lo deben hacer ustedes, pero con mucho gusto ahora les voy a compartir la información de contacto para que tengan el modelo que deben utilizar. So Kayla, I'm just saying that as Education USA, because this might be a little overwhelming, because as you said, the CVs here, the way they're done, as you mentioned, they include some of these personal information and picture. As Education USA, we can help them before they apply, and we can provide them with a generic template so it's easier for them to customize it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, this is something that I had never thought of until, like I said, I lived abroad, and then when I started reviewing applications, just opening up the file, and it was like, oh, another picture. So that is some, as an American, that's something that's very it's interesting, and it's just like a fun cultural quirk. But our faculty are kind of looking for that standard like American CV. And I have an example as well that I can pull up.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. And
Yeah.
also they're using a lot of Canva now. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, like I said, we have and they're beautiful. Like they're beautiful CVs, students, but they look more like flyers. And when you see the example, you'll kind of see the difference. But yeah, but before I show that really quickly, again, just proofread and revise, seek feedback from your peers, your trusted mentors, set it aside for a couple days, come back to it with fresh eyes. And if you can, if you know someone like a faculty member that is familiar with academic CVs from the United States, that can be helpful as well. Just they're a little bit more familiar. It can be helpful to kind of pick out things. But here's an example, and let me know if you don't see this. Are you seeing the file?
Yes.
Awesome. So I just blacked out. This is an iSURE student that was accepted to the program in 2023. So this is an actual CV that we received, was very well received from the faculty. I just blacked out his information. This was a student from Mexico. He lists his education first. Again, kind of just the highlights. So he was a student at the Universidad Panamericana. He lists his GPA, if he has any scholarships, what he's studying. And then also something that's included in a lot of American CVs is your expected graduation date. And this just helps the faculty know, are you a student with a little bit more experience, or are you like brand new? So it's helpful for the students to include the expected graduation date on the CV so the faculty can pick out that information. So again, we had the education, we had some professional experience. This student had an internship. Some students just write class projects, or they volunteered with a faculty member, or they did a group project for a class. But this is something that you would list there. And again, this is really a really good example of how the student talked about their skills in their experience. So they're talking about their experience. They didn't just say, I had an internship at this company, but they used computer vision models that created, et cetera, et cetera. So they're saying, I have the skill of making a computer model, and this is how I applied it. So this is a really good skill to have as you're applying for jobs and graduate school research programs like iSURE, kind of taking that next step of not just making it a list, but saying what you did with all of those things on the list, if that makes sense. Again, academic and personal projects, and then this is where the student lists their skills. So technical skills, this student was a student in our computer science department. So different softwares, programming languages that might not be relevant to you, that's okay. Any languages, and then soft skills. You can include that as well. If you have a particular skill in managing people, if you're a good leader, you can put that there. If you are if you're very diligent, you can put that there. So if you're running kind of out of room, I would maybe leave the soft skills out of it, but this is something that you can include as well, if you have the space. Yeah, so this is just a good example of a student. I believe he was finishing up his third year at Panamericana when he came. So this is a good example of a good CV for a student who doesn't have a ton of experience, has some experience, but how he really masterfully leveraged that experience as well.
Kaylee, I also want to add that's important that even though they are in college, and some students might be from the interior of the country, but might be in the Panama office. Así que si son estudiantes del interior, pero están en la sede en la capital, pongan su high school donde fueron en el interior, porque eso va a ser muy importante porque uno de los requisitos, ¿verdad, Luis? De la convocatoria es que estamos, y por eso estamos haciendo esto a través de las sedes regionales, porque uno de los requisitos de la CENACYT es que reclutemos a nivel nacional. Entonces, aunque ya están en la universidad, si hicieron la secundaria en el interior, es importante que pongan el nombre de la escuela y que son del interior.
Great. So let me switch back to our presentation. So again, so that's the CV. I would say the CV and the personal statement kind of carry equal weight with our application. I've seen a really good personal statement get kind of pulled down by a CV where a student really didn't spend a lot of time on it. So these two things should be very well crafted and spending a lot of time on them as well. So our faculty are looking for to use like an American idiom, the cream of the crop. So the top students that are willing to spend a lot of time in making these documents really nice. So again, that was just an example. As Gladys mentioned, Education USA has the templates, and that's a really great place to start getting some examples and kind of picturing what a good CV would look like. So that's all I have in terms of tips and kind of what our faculty are looking for. So now I'll flip over to our Q&A. And again, if you think of a question later or we don't get to your question tonight, you can always reach out to us at globalprograms@nd.edu. That is an inbox that's monitored by Renato, myself, and some of our other colleagues. So we can definitely get you an answer very, very quickly from there. So yeah, again, my colleague Renato is on the chat and on the call, so he is happy to answer some questions as well.
Thank you very much. Saludos al doctor Luis Herrera. We have the vice provost for research, Dr. Luis Herrera, joining us. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Herrera. So, ahora es la hora de hacer preguntas. Antes de hacer preguntas, les quería compartir el Instagram de Education USA. Ahora le pasa el mouse. El Instagram de Education USA. Estos recursos son gratuitos para ustedes aquí en Panamá. Yo represento la oficina en Panamá. Es un programa que estamos en 175 países. Como les dije, tenemos los cursos gratuitos para el TOEFL, los ensayos. Para esta convocatoria en particular pueden hacer Duolingo, también los recursos que tiene la USMA para los exámenes de inglés, que pueden acercarse a la universidad si tienen alguna pregunta, pero quería asegurar que aquí en el Linktree, en el perfil de Education USA, pueden ver las diferentes convocatorias de becas y diferentes recursos para ustedes. Este es el correo panamacityeducationusa.org y Education USA PTY. Es el Instagram de nosotros, donde también tenemos información de becas Fulbright, becas de maestría, because this program is a pathway, a gateway to get you to go to graduate school. And we thank Kaylee for that presentation. Y I just want to make sure you had that contact information. Solo quería asegurar que tenían la información de contacto para entonces ahora ya sí proceder a las preguntas. Luis, ¿tú quieres moderar las preguntas o quieres que lo haga yo?
Hola, puedes hacerlo tú.
Okay. We have a question from Christian Burgess, who's online. You can introduce yourself.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I have a couple of questions regarding all the information you guys just said. I don't know if it's better for me to say it in English or in Spanish, or both.
Both.
Okay. Okay. The first question is where can we find the QR code to submit all the information, the documents?
Y el código se encuentra en el flyer que fue compartido vía correo electrónico. Igual, si no recibiste el flyer, te puedes acercar a la escuela, solicitarlo directamente al director de escuela y te lo puede facilitar. O también puedes escribir directamente al correo de investigación@usma.ac.pa y te podemos facilitar el enlace.
En el Instagram que acabo de compartir de Cristian y todos, de Education USA, está el flyer posteado. Así que los estamos facilitando la información porque queremos que apliquen. Aquí lo importante es que no tengan miedo de aplicar. Si quedan, no quedan, ya quedan en una base de datos importante. Entonces, la información está en Education USA PTY también, Luis. Así que aprovechen.
Gracias. The second question is, how do we find the Duolingo English test? So we log in the Duolingo app, or there's like a special link that we need to enter?
It's the general, Kelly, right? The general Duolingo.
And I think like if you just Google Duolingo English test, it should pop up. It should be one of the first things that pops up.
So you could also do a practice one, especially if you're not familiar, because you might have the English, o sea, pueden tener el nivel de inglés, pero es bueno practicar hacer el examen. It's always good to practice doing the test because they're online and they're timed. So if you have run out of practice about doing this, it's always good to practice. So try doing some practice tests before you actually do the actual exam.
And I would also recommend with the Duolingo, it's proctored via your webcam and your microphone. So definitely
Tenemos estudiantes de sede Chitré con preguntas.
Okay. I think Kaylee froze, or is it me?
I think she froze.
Okay. There has been doing issues, so I'm wondering. A ver, USMA Chitré, Azuero presente. Tienen la pregunta, la pueden hacer en español o en inglés.
Tenía
Hola,
tres.
sí.
Ay, perdón, Cristian.
Sorry. Tenía tres. La próxima es, o sea, el índice de la USMA, según lo que yo tengo, es un máximo de 3.0. O sea, ¿esto es en base al GPA americano o es en base al GPA panameño? Estoy como un poco enredado ahí.
Efectivamente, se tendrá que hacer una conversión del GPA panameño con el americano. O sea, lo que solicita directamente Notre Dame es un GPA de 3/4 y habría que ver cuál es la equivalencia respecto a lo que tenemos
Una
acá en
regla
la
de
UMA,
tres.
¿no?
Hacer
Puede
una-
ser,
mi recomendación siempre para estudiantes panameños, porque esto lo vemos cuando aplican a la maestría, es que pongan los dos. O sea, para Senasí van a verlo sobre 2 y para Estados Unidos lo van a ver sobre 4. Entonces, lo puedes poner ambos si quieren.
Ok. La penúltima pregunta, rapidito, para que la sede de Chitre pueda hacerla, y disculpa. The documents that we need to upload on the Google Forms, o sea, hay como un page limit para el personal statement, dice que no te pases de 2 pages, o cuál es el límite para el personal statement.
so if I'm understanding Spanish correctly,
Sorry.
you're asking about like how long the personal statement is?
Yes, is there a like a page limit for the personal statement? Because
Not a page limit. Yeah, we would say usually about like 750 words. Students write about 500 to 750. So it's like a
Okay.
page and a half-ish.
And the CV is maximum 1 page.
We recommend 1 page. We've had students do 2 pages if they've had a lot of experience, but usually 1 page is kind of like the highlights, and that's what the faculty are going to read it really quick. So just making it easy for them. Yeah.
Thank you. And the last question, sorry guys, from Chitre. When is the max due date to submit all the documents?
el deadline vendría siendo el 21 de diciembre. es el último día para enviar los documentos, se pasa un proceso de selección y se anuncian los ganadores en enero. Una vez se anuncien los ganadores, va a haber otro proceso que va a ser ya directamente con Notre Dame, pero eso ya será más adelante. Primero es 21 de diciembre para subir todos los documentos al form de la USMA.
Perfecto, muchas gracias.
Mucho gusto.
Gracias, ahora sí, Chitre.
Hola, voy a hablar en español para que, bueno, todos me entiendan. Necesito por obligación que sea el TOEFL o el IELTS o el Duolingo, porque lo mencionaron también, para poder aplicar. O también podría ser el TOEIC, que es otro examen que se le usa. O solamente el TOEFL o el IELTS.
¿Tú quieres responder?
Si comprendieron bien, listo.
Oh, okay. La convocatoria, they're asking if it has to be those three, the TOEFL or the IELTS or the Duolingo. Preferably, and o sea, el términos de costo, el más barato va a ser el Duolingo. Sin embargo, si ustedes tienen acceso al TOEIC, the TOEIC is an English standardized test, Kaylee, that's very popular in Panama, and it's similar to the TOEFL. And I think that we have received students that use that for this type of experience. So I think we need to do that research and find out if it's more accessible for them to do it. That might work, especially in the interior. Yo creo que el TOEIC es un examen estandarizado. Si ustedes tienen acceso a tomarlo en las provincias y es más fácil, también lo podremos considerar, yo creo. Porque tuvimos esa conversación con María Mercedes.
Yeah, like that's something that we will need to kind of like check here at Notre Dame, because the other three tests are the ones that are currently accepted as part of the requirements. But if there is a little bit more like problems in that regards, we can kind of like evaluate that request, like more like an exception. But we will definitely need to review that here at the university.
Yeah, thank you, Renato. So we're gonna check on that, but we started having that conversation with María Mercedes, so I think we're
I have
gonna
another question. Tengo otra pregunta.
do it in English. Do it in English. You can do it in.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I have another question. I was in Ireland 5 months and 2 weeks, so I take a very intensive English classes there, and I have my certificate, right? But I don't know if it works with this program, because it isn't TOEFL or IELTS, but I don't know if I can use it to apply. I don't know. I don't remember clearly, but I think when we finished the course there, we made an exam. I think it was IELTS. I'm not really sure. I have to investigate it, because I just wrote to my teacher from them, because I keep in touch sometimes with him, and I will ask him if we make that IELTS exam. But in case I don't make it, I can go, or I can apply to the program with that certificate or not.
Well, that I can answer a little of that, Kaylee. Like I can even answer it like to you in Spanish as well. Como para hacerlo claro, la única sección que usualmente, the only exception that we sometimes like consider para los casos de requerimientos de admisiones, sería más cuando las personas se han graduado de una universidad donde el lenguaje de instrucción es inglés. En esos casos es los cuales el English requirement no es pedido. En los otros casos que no es eso, se va a requerir English Proficiency Test a través de los exámenes que hablamos. Y en el caso que Clyde estaba mencionando acerca de ese otro test que nosotros no evaluamos directamente en la universidad, podemos evaluar esa request y dar una respuesta si podríamos aceptarlo o no. Pero that's the only exception. The only exception will be you graduate from a school where the language of instruction is English, where the requirement for English proficiency will be waived. But unless you graduate from a school where the language instruction is not English, then one of the English proficiency tests will be required as part of the application. Se requeriría como parte de la aplicación.
Muchas gracias, Renato. ¿Alguna otra pregunta?
Sí, por favor, adelante.
Sí.
Una consulta. Si yo tengo un certificado del colegio, como de ELIS, que fue lo que di de primer grado hasta sexto año, tampoco es permitido.
Ok, déjame decir si entiendo. Dices que tú tomaste el examen de IELTS.
Pero haz la
y-
pregunta en inglés.
Well, in my school, I have the certificate of ELIS that I have in first grade to the, if I graduate, I can apply this certificate or not.
Like, do you have a test? You took the English proficiency test in the past, the IELTS. Do you have a copy?
No.
So you took the test, but you don't have a copy showing that you took the test. Is that what you're asking? Tomaste el test, pero no tienes una certificación que muestra los scores que tuviste en el examen.
Es que tengo como un certificado, entonces por cada lección que yo pasaba, ahí me dan como unos puntos. Entonces,
Okay.
entonces a raíz de eso, cuando tú pasas todas las lecciones, tú recibes un certificado.
Okay, so creo que la pregunta es similar a la otra pregunta en la cual algunas veces algunos estudiantes estudian cursos de inglés y al final de estudiar un curso de inglés obtienen un certificado que muestra de que la persona ha estudiado o que tiene un buen inglés. Just like ahorita me estabas hablando un poquito estábamos hablando en inglés. Como mencionamos, los requerimientos de admisiones que tenemos dentro de la universidad, al menos de que la persona se haya graduado de una institución del lenguaje de instrucción es inglés, nosotros test score por English Proficiency. La razón por la cual nosotros pedimos eso es porque nosotros queremos estar seguros cuando evaluamos diferentes aplicaciones y los profesores van a estar mirando aplicaciones de diferentes estudiantes, que todos ellos puedan ser evaluados dentro de la misma criterio, del mismo base. Y también queremos estar seguros que ustedes puedan tener la mejor tipo de experiencia posible y que vayan a ser successful cuando estén trabajando con los profesores, porque los profesores van a tener en su expectativa que los estudiantes van a poder interactuar con ellos de manera más fluente. Por eso es que no solamente por el aspecto de los requerimientos de admisión, sino también para Kelly y mi equipo cuando estamos evaluando todas las diferentes aplicaciones y cuando los mostramos a los faculty para poder ellos tener un criterio de admisión que sea más justo a través de todos los aplicantes. Por eso es que esos son los criterios. Al menos que una persona que se haya llevado a una universidad donde el lenguaje de instrucción es inglés, un requerimiento de English Proficiency Test va a ser necesario.
Okay. I have another question.
Yeah, please.
She said that we have the top projects choice that we have to address in the essay, right? But I want to know about the projects that we will be doing if we get choice.
Yeah. So like Kelly, just to let you know, like first questions were more about in relation to like certifications that you get like through courses for English. And I was explaining that unless the language instruction like I was English is like they need to take an English proficiency test to have the same criteria among all different applicants when we introduce it to the faculty. This new question, I just want to kind of give you the background where they're asking, like they are also, she's asking about the projects that we're going to have available. And then like at the moment when they're going to be able to see those projects to be able to do the selection. So maybe you can say a little bit more specifically when they apply through our application portal, what are going to be some of those projects that are going to be listed there and how has worked that in the past?
Yeah, this
Y
is really
traducir, sí, cualquier cosa.
Yeah, this is a really good question. So when we get to the stage of applying to the Notre Dame portal, as Renato mentioned, there will be a list of all of the different projects that are available. So it just lists a project. It doesn't list the faculty name. We keep it anonymous, so faculty aren't getting a million emails. But the project will kind of explain, the description will explain like what the project is about, what the student will do. So it's description,
we call it the anticipated student involvement. So what will the student be doing with this project? And then any skills that the faculty are looking for, that they prefer that the student has. So this is where you would see technical skills or maybe like previous coursework, that kind of thing. So that will be posted on the Notre Dame application portal. We are still working with faculty to get as many projects as possible in different areas. So we don't have a final list for you tonight, but by the time you get to the point where you're applying for the Notre Dame through that portal, you'll see the list, and then the application will ask you to select one, like your top choice project. Like that is the project that you want to work on, and that is what you'll craft your personal statement and your CV towards, is that one project. And then the faculty will, for that project, will review all of the applications and then pick however many, you know, maybe they select one student, maybe they select 3, they select however many students they want to work with, and that is how the students and the faculty are matched.
Gladys,
Renato, I think it might be good to
Gladys, ¿me
translate.
escucha?
Translate? Yeah, I can translate. Lo que Kelly estaba mencionando es que cuando ya esté en el momento de hacer la aplicación a través de nuestro portal, una vez que haya sido la parte de denominación por parte de USMA Education USA y ya estén los estudiantes seleccionados, nosotros vamos a darle un link en el cual ustedes van a poder someter nuevamente esas documentaciones, mirar directamente allí en esa aplicación cuáles son los proyectos que están disponibles para ustedes para poder aplicar, y en ese momento es cuando ustedes van a hacer la selección del proyecto que ustedes creen, número 1, que está más en alignment o en consideración más cercano a sus proyectos futuros, la que está más en alignment con la parte de research que ustedes les llaman. Pero también yo recomendaría, como lo ha dicho Kelly muchas veces, también que ustedes vean que ustedes tienen más oportunidad de poder ser seleccionados por parte del faculty. Entonces, cuando estén leyendo todos los diferentes tipos de proyectos que están listados ahí, yo recomendaría que tomen 2 criterios cuando vayan a hacer eso. Número 1, ¿cuál es el proyecto que les llama a ustedes más la atención y que se sentirían más cómodos trabajando, que les sienten más passionate, porque eso es lo que va a ayudarles a poder crear un buen statement acerca de por qué se ven ustedes haciendo ese proyecto? Pero el segundo que yo diría que tienen que también tomar en cuenta es no solamente lo que ustedes se ven más haciendo, pero también cuáles son los proyectos que ustedes creen que van a tener más skills que están relacionadas con ese proyecto que el faculty está buscando, para que de esa manera ustedes aumenten las posibilidades de que ustedes puedan ser seleccionados. Entonces es pasión, pero al mismo tiempo que haya alignment con los skills que ellos están buscando. Yo recomendaría que esos sean los 2 criterios que ustedes utilicen cuando revisen los diferentes proyectos y hagan la selección.
Excelentes consejos. Thanks for the advice. Dr. Luis Herrera.
Yeah, there is an important question in the chat from Sede Colón. I don't know if you listen.
Okay. Thank you. So we have a question from one of the provinces, and thank you, Luis, for sharing the. ¿Es necesario que los estudiantes cuenten con una visa previa para Estados Unidos? Oh, that's a good question. It's a visa question, Kaylee. They're asking if it's required for you to have a visa before applying.
Yes. So our iSURE program is sponsors students on an F1 visa. So there are 2 different student visas. Students in iSURE come on an F visa. Notre Dame will provide an admissions letter, which is what you need, and then also the I-20. And so then you'll take that and then apply for your F visa with that. The nice thing is a lot of our students get their F visas for 5 years. So that's really nice. You don't have to reapply for your F visa if you were to come back to graduate school in most cases. So it's even though it's for 8 weeks, it is really nice that you get your F visa, and then that can continue. But it is required. And we help you out for sure.
Entonces, la pregunta
Yeah.
de la visa. You want to translate, Renato? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to translate a little bit so Kelly, what they were also mentioning is they needed a visa before applying, and the answer is no, you don't need a visa before applying. Los estudiantes que son seleccionados, the students that are selected and to participate in this program, they will be the ones who will apply for a visa to be able to participate. Eso la parte cuando una vez sean seleccionados, los estudiantes que son seleccionados, nosotros, Kaylee, like, is going to process like an acceptance letter and also some documentation with our ISA team, like a team that process like the documentation that you need to apply for an F1 visa. Entonces, no se necesita una visa para aplicar, sino se necesita una visa para participar en el programa. So once you are selected, if you're selected, then we will give you the instructions. Le vamos a dar las instrucciones de what are the next steps. Y Kelly, en mi equipo, we will be providing the information to be able to apply for that F1 visa. Le vamos a dar la información para poder aplicar el F1 visa.
Y no se preocupen porque van a ir en grupo y ahí Education USA también nosotros apoyamos con ese proceso, pero la documentación va a venir de la universidad para que puedan entonces hacer ese proceso, pero eso es solamente cuando están seleccionados para viajar. Eso ya es lo último que se hace. That's like the last step. Así que no se preocupen por eso. Preocúpense por tener una aplicación fuerte. Eso es lo importante ahorita mismo. Dígame, doctor.
So it's almost certain that they will obtain the visa if they are or no.
I'm sorry?
So this, o sea, es seguro que obtengan la visa.
Well, no, we can't.
Almost certain that they will obtain the
O
visa.
sea, a ver, como es una visa de estudiante. Yo creo que esto es importante porque para estos programas ustedes están yendo a estudiar, ¿ok? Aunque son 8 semanas, es una visa de estudios en Estados Unidos. No es una visa de turismo, es una visa de estudio.
Okay, but if they win the application,
Pero depende mucho del aplicante. O sea, ya cuando va al consulado, ya ni Notre Dame, ni nosotros, ni la USMA puede hacer absolutamente nada. Nosotros podemos ayudar a los estudiantes con la información para prepararse para ir a sacar la visa, pero no, pero hay casos que ya son individuales.
Yo puedo contestar un poquito la respuesta porque nosotros trabajamos con mucha internacional, igual que como tú también, Gladys. La parte del visado, eso es final decision of the US government. Ellos son los únicos que van a poder a decir o aceptar a los estudiantes. Lo que la Universidad de Notre Dame va a proveer es, vamos a decir, la persona fue seleccionada para este programa y we're going to provide los requisitos que necesitan los estudiantes para poder ser considerados para una F1 visa. Nosotros vamos a decir, el estudiante tiene la intención de participar en el programa de iSURE y esa información la tiene la información, la embajada va a mirar con la I-20 y la información que nosotros vamos a proveer, que es los documentos que la embajada va a revisar para poder considerar a un estudiante. Pero the decision of a visa approval, it happened only through the U.S. government. What we as a university do is to build in stock the intention of the student to participate in the program and say that the student was selected, but the final decision is always from the U.S. government. La decisión final siempre es por el gobierno de Estados Unidos.
Porque tienen que hacer una entrevista para eso, y eso ya es individual.
Correcto.
Hay que hacer una estrategia ahí, Luis.
Pero no deben tener problema. O sea, si tienen una aplicación fuerte, si son seleccionados, Notre Dame ayuda con el papeleo. O sea, que no, y que, ay, no sé si me va, entonces no voy a aplicar. No. Primero lo primero. ¿Ok? Y no se preocupen por eso hasta que ya son seleccionados, entonces van a ser tratados como un grupo y van a asegurar que van a tener toda la documentación que necesiten para ir al consulado. Así que yo no me preocuparía por esa parte de la visa y pasaporte y eso. Y también los costos, Luis, es importante. Esta convocatoria de Senacid incluye esos costos.
Correcto. Todo, está cubierto todo el tema del visado.
So the sponsorship includes the visa application, and so they shouldn't have problems with that. So that's important for them to know. Así que no tienen problema. La convocatoria de la beca incluye el proceso del papeleo para esta visa de estudiante que tendrían que tener para este programa. No es una visa de turista, es una visa de estudiante.
Hi, good evening, Gladys, Kelly, Renato. Thank you for the opportunity that you are giving us for participating in iSURE. My name is Alexis, and I have several questions. The first one, I hear that you have some projects like data science and process improvement. It's only a question, and in this case, I need to choose only one project, or we're gonna do some works on different projects on the other projects, or only in one project. This is my first question.
Okay, can you stand up so they can see you? I see that. There you go. Okay.
Oh, hi again. Yeah, my question is okay, about I know that you have several programs, or sorry, several projects like data science and process improvement. But in this case, we need to choose only one project, or we're gonna work in the different project that you're gonna offer. This is my first question.
Yeah, good question. So you'll select your top choice project, and you'll work exclusively on that project. So it's 8 weeks just with that professor and that professor's research group. So just one project, and you get really good like hands-on experience, and you get really like deep in the research versus just going to a couple projects. Yep, so you'll just select your top choice. And if your faculty doesn't select you for your top choice, but you are a really qualified applicant, a lot of times we'll kind of match. So we'll ask another faculty, like, would you be interested in mentoring this student? So we try to match as many students as possible within their field.
Okay, my second question is about okay, how is gonna be the schedule of the program? Because okay, we're gonna work in the project, but how it gonna be the phases of the project? Maybe this is a very early question, because we don't know if the project is we're gonna work, but it's like an idea of how it's gonna be the schedule. The time that we're gonna work, I don't know, it's like how it's gonna work the project.
Yeah, good question. So this depends pretty heavily on the faculty member, but generally our students are working kind of like Monday to Friday, like normal business hours, Monday to Friday, maybe like 9 to 5, working in the lab or working, independently for the day. So the student works with the faculty to kind of set up their schedule based on kind of the goals that you set with your faculty. So it might look different from person to person, but generally weekends are free. The faculty are not working on the weekends, so our iSURE students, they might be catching up on work, but for the most part, their weekends are free, and then Monday through Friday during the day is when you would work on your research.
Okay, the another question is, I imagine that the faculty that you are saying is the engineering faculty in Notre Dame, no? That is
yes.
okay.
Sí, son los profesores en la universidad. Faculty son los profesores. The word
great.
faculty in Panama means department. So
Okay, yeah, faculty professor
yeah,
is another word.
Okay, perfect. The another question is, okay, I understand that, okay, we are gonna work on the research, but if we're gonna work on the research, obviously, I think that our names is gonna be in the project. And if, for example, if we're gonna apply for a master or another program, this research that we have realized, we are gonna have a copy or something like that.
Did you go her the question, like Kaylee?
Yeah, well, I was waiting. I thought you unmuted yourself, so I was waiting if you were jumping in. So if I'm understanding your question correctly, you're wondering if there's something at the end that will signify that you participated? Is that?
No, I
question?
think like the question is if the faculty if the faculty, if they
Yes.
are doing like a research paper or something like that, if the faculty will include them and they can use that as part of their application for like a master later on. And I think like the answer will be like it really depends on the faculty and
Yeah,
the work
correct,
they do.
correct.
Depende del faculty, del tipo de trabajo que ustedes hagan, el involvement que tengan, eso es a la discreción del faculty. Luego, la parte de involvement, si el proyecto de eso se termina. Lo que sí van a poder mencionar, what you can always mention is that you participated in a research project at the University of Notre Dame. Ustedes participaron en un visiting project at the University of Notre Dame y que ustedes hicieron soporte en un proyecto, which la ventaja de eso es que les puede ayudar más adelante cuando estén aplicando para programas de posgrado. No, específicamente en cuanto al proyecto y la parte de paper research y publications, that is more like something that each faculty decide, cada faculty decide. I don't know if you want to add a little more about that, like Kaylee.
Yeah, just a couple things. We do provide at the end of the program, if you successfully complete it, like kind of like a evidence of completion, kind of like it's a certificate, but like evidence of completion that says your name, you know, when you completed it. Our faculty mentors are also very, very willing to write letters of recommendation, which is when you're applying to graduate school, that is like worth its weight in gold. Like they're so important. So our faculty are very willing to help out in that regard. Just some other examples, we have students that will maybe travel to a conference with their faculty member. I just saw on LinkedIn like a week ago, one of our students from Mexico in 2023, she just published as a co-author with her faculty from Notre Dame. So even though she did it way back in 2023, she was still working virtually with her faculty and was able to publish with him. So like Renato said, it kind of depends on the faculty, like where they're at in the research and kind of what opportunities they have, but it is possible to have some very like concrete examples of like a manuscript, a conference presentation, but also really that really important
Poster.
Yeah, poster, all of those things. There's also opportunities during the summer to present research to the Notre Dame community. We have a research symposium at the end of session 1 that's open to the entire campus, and we really encourage iSURE students to do that as well. So you can say, I presented my research at the University of Notre Dame. That's really important. And then having that faculty being willing to write that letter is really helpful as well.
Those were great questions, Alexis. I think we need to start wrapping up because I think in USMA they might have other classes, other evening classes. Pero si tienen alguna otra pregunta, estamos grabando también esto y también, Luis, si tienen alguna pregunta específica de la convocatoria que te la compartan a ti, ¿verdad?
Correcto. Cualquier pregunta con mucho gusto será atendida. Ahí Jorge Enrique aquí en
So I think we have one more
Zoom,
question.
en Zoom
In
nos
the
puede
Yeah,
ver, sí.
You can listen me?
We can see you, but we can hear you.
Okay. First of all, good evening, everyone. I just have one question because I have a friend here who is interested, but I saw that he said that one of the requirements was to study in the USMA. So I would like to know if he can apply for one of these scholarship if he just finished the high school to see that though.
Okay. So if he's finished high school, this program is for if you're past the 3rd year in USMA specifically, because we're doing it with an agreement between USMA and Notre Dame, this program particularly. But if you just finished high school, ask him to contact us at Education USA, because I'm sure that if he's interested in Notre Dame, we can guide him into undergrad or maybe other programs, right, Renato, that you might have for high school students that just graduated.
Okay, thanks.
Había otra pregunta en o sea, este webinar lo estamos haciendo específicamente para esto, pero no quiero que se desanimen si tienen interés de estudiar afuera, sobre todo en Estados Unidos hay muchos otros programas que pueden acceder, pre-college programs y otras cosas que hay. A ver, una otra pregunta. Kelly, how are we doing? 'Cause
Aquí tienen una pregunta.
Buenas noches. La voy a hacer en español. Ok, teníamos la duda en cuanto a lo del ensayo de la participación de...
Si la puedes hacer en inglés, no la quieres hacer en inglés.
Ok, no, la verdad. Estoy un poco nerviosa. Ok. En el proyecto, en cuanto a la parte de lo que es el ensayo, tenemos la duda de si debemos solo colocar como una breve descripción de la participación que tuvimos ahí, más no, ok, dentro de estos proyectos no tuvimos una participación como tal, pero sí observamos, o sea, tuvimos dentro del proceso observando más o menos cómo es el proyecto. Entonces no sabemos si se realiza lo que es una breve descripción de que los conocimientos que adquirimos durante esta, o hay que poner pues algo, plasmar bien qué es lo que se realiza dentro de esto, o solo es algo breve.
Renata.
A ver si entiendo lo que me preguntaste. O sea, and I can translate really quickly for you too, like Kelly, so you know what they're asking as well. Lo que entendí es que estás preguntando en el ensayo de propósito del por qué quieres participar en este programa. Tú tuviste la experiencia de participar o de observar un proyecto de investigación, pero no necesariamente fuiste parte del equipo que estaba haciendo la investigación como tal. Es lo que entiendo, que formaste parte observando, pero no necesariamente un full immersion en research. Es lo que te estoy entendiendo. ¿Eso es correcto? ¿Es lo que estás preguntando? Que si eso cuenta para la parte del ensayo.
Más bien como para la parte del CV. Ajá,
Oh, ok. No para el ensayo, sino cómo listarlo en la hoja de vida.
exacto.
Lo que so Kaylee, what they were asking is like if they have like a observe like or participate in a research project in an indirect way, like how they should be listing that in their CV. That's kind of like the way they're mentioning. Lo que Kaylee estaba mencionando, o sea, lo más importante, como se menciona, es, número uno, que se diga por qué están apasionados, cómo ustedes creen que este proyecto les va a ayudar en el futuro también, profesionalmente, hacia dónde quieren crecer. Si ustedes, por ejemplo, digamos que hay un proyecto que es alrededor del área de, yo estoy dando un ejemplo, Artificial Intelligence. Y ustedes dicen, bueno, es que yo quisiera trabajar con base de datos, profesionalmente en el futuro me gustaría hacer un PhD en esta área o una maestría en esta área, me veo trabajando en consultoría en esto es lo que yo estoy haciendo actualmente en mi carrera en la minería de posgrado. Ese tipo de ensayo o de instrucción le muestra al faculty que hay un interés no solamente en el proyecto actual, sino en el futuro crecimiento profesional académico de ustedes. Por eso es que mencionamos que cuando ustedes colocan la información en el CV, cualquier información que muestre de que ustedes han tenido cierto engagement en parte de investigación, va a ser importante porque para el faculty va a saber de que ustedes están preparados, probablemente no de manera completa, pero le da una idea al faculty de que ustedes tienen una idea de qué es lo que un trabajo de investigación
Con la
requiere.
Universidad de Notre Dame.
Entonces, en esa manera, si lo que han hecho nada más es observar en ciertos proyectos, igualito pónganlo allí, porque fue algo que es relevante, que es importante y que puede estar relacionado al proyecto. No necesariamente si no has hecho un research directamente con un faculty. Si participaste en algunos casos, como mencionaba Kelly, CAP projects o proyectos de clases que se relacionan con el tópico, también se pueden colocar allí. Entonces, la idea es tratar de mostrar, y esto es bien importante, mencionar lo que ustedes han hecho. Es bien importante que no se ponga algo que no se tiene conocimiento, porque si no, luego más adelante van a haber problemas con el faculty. Entonces, es lo importante de mostrar lo que se tiene y lo que se ha aprendido para poder que el faculty lo revise. Pero Los faculties de la Universidad de Notre Dame, ellos ven el perfil del estudiante as a whole y ellos revisan y como digo, por eso es que están esos dos componentes, la parte del CV, la hoja de vida, que es más como la parte, los hardcore skills, como lo que has mostrado específicamente que tienes relacionado al proyecto, pero la segunda parte muestra la parte de la motivación del estudiante y el crecimiento profesional que el estudiante quiere tener en el área. En conjunto, ambos de ellos ayudan a que el faculty pueda tomar la decisión. So I was just mentioning, Kelly, that it's very important just to list any type of like a research component, even if it's just an observation or capstone projects or anything like that, because that will show that they have the skills that are needed, but the motivations toward the project are as equal as an important, because together is what they give an idea to the faculty about what they need to consider for them for the application. No sé si esto te contestó la pregunta que tenías.
Oh, sorry, I'm gonna finish with two questions. The first is, we share the skills that the faculty are searching in us. And the second one is, and the last, it's like, I know that you are very interested in like research experience in the university. But for example, I have like an experience in a company like in Scope Airlines. I make a project and I need to, in this moment, I need to research or like, it's like a market research about the talent attractions, opportunities, and other things, and I need to make a project for that. And I don't know if that this is a good project that you can take like to consider to the application.
But Alexei, but you use software, right, to do that research?
Yes and no, because I have, okay, first I need to do a poll in Microsoft Forms, and later I need to make the analysis of this data, and I need to make a comparison with another companies here in Panama, specifically in Costa del Este, and later I present a project to COPA using this data. That is that the base is for do a better internship program, and this also includes a little of process improvement in the same project. But I don't use like programs of like using Python or another programming language. No, it's only like exploratory poll.
But I'm sorry. I just want to make sure. I don't. For this project, it's important that you show the experience you have. But I don't know if I feel like some of them have some research experience, but I don't want to put so much pressure that they need to have done a research to participate in this experience. Are you understand? Are you getting what I'm getting, Kaylee and Renato?
Yeah, I think like the main thing to clarify,
Yes.
like because Kelly, I think like the main concern is like you know, you need to know a specific like programming language or have like a specific reasoning skills in order to participate. I would say that the answer to that question is sometimes like the faculty also like evaluates is like what we call transferable skills, like habilidades que pueden ser transferidas, algunas cosas que se relacionen específicamente a like a un proyecto de investigación, like there are certain things that are related specific to a research project. Por ejemplo, puede ser que algunos proyectos el faculty realmente necesita un lenguaje de programación específico, like need a specific language, but si ese es el caso, it's going to be listed in the project. Pero en otros casos, cuando no está listado en el project, eso quiere decir que el faculty está más dispuesto a poder escuchar o trabajar con estudiantes que tengan ciertas skills que son importantes para cualquier tipo de research, académico o a nivel de compañía. Pero, por ejemplo, just to give an example about some skills that may be good or important about like, you know, research regardless of what career field, sin importar qué tipo de área profesional. Por ejemplo, la parte de análisis de datos. saber la parte de Excel, por ejemplo, la parte de gathering information, o mirar cuáles son las trends, o hay cierto, like cleaning data. ¿Sí me entiendes? Hay ciertas cosas de que pueden ser más generales, de que funcionan y que son parte de la parte investigativa. All of those things are going to be things that the faculty are going to consider. Y si hay en específico un programa que se necesite o que se quisiera que la persona tuviera, el faculty nos hace saber a nosotros y nosotros lo vamos a tener listado como parte del programa. So like the main thing, Kaylee, is like to kind of like clarify in relation to those skills that are required in some projects, which will we say like the faculty are looking for there, and those skills that are preferable, or like you can say it's a preference of the faculty would like. Entonces, en esos proyectos se van a decir, estas son unas habilidades que el profesor le gustaría ver y en los que son requeridos, we will actually list it there. Well, for this faculty, para este proyecto en específico, this is a required skill. Pero al menos que vean ahí que dice required, no quiere decir de que si ustedes no pueden ser considerados. Por eso es que mencionamos de que de todas maneras apliquen, porque al final de la decisión va a venir con el parte del faculty y ellos van a recibir y revisar su información y basado en esa información ellos van a tomar la decisión. Entonces, como Gladys y Luis mencionan, lo más importante es que den la mejor parte de ustedes para que la aplicación sea tan fuerte o strong as possible, pero luego también confiar en que las cosas pueden comunicarse de una manera correcta y que el faculty revise y pueda tomar la decisión. Entonces, it's important to be proactive, pero al mismo tiempo también de ser positivos en el proceso y tratar de dar lo mejor de cada quien.
Así.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Gracias, Alex. Doctor Herrera.
Dear student, use everything you have in your application. Don't leave anything out. Many times you propose something, but the university can dictate that you will do better in another lab or another place. So don't leave anything out. Use everything you have in your application.
That's good advice.
Very good advice.
Ok, bueno, ya yo creo que vamos a ir cerrando, Luis, ¿verdad? No sé si quieres dar un último consejo, Luis, y ponerte a disposición para contestar todas las preguntas específicas de la convocatoria de Senacid y estamos dispuestos también a poder contestarles las preguntas de los exámenes de inglés. Lo importante es que nos hagan las preguntas, porque si no nos hacen las preguntas no sabemos cómo ayudarlos también. Así que tomen ventaja de este tiempo para poder ir trabajando en la aplicación. No la dejen a último momento, por favor. I know you have Thanksgiving in the US. We have our independence from Spain holiday. So it's a good time for them to start inspiring. And then again, take advantage of the free essay writing and TOEFL classes that Education USA offers Monday and Wednesday. Usen las clases que tenemos gratuitas. They're free on Zoom with a fellow in the United States. So take advantage of those classes and practice writing the essay for this program during that class. He's not going to write them for you. We don't want anybody to write them for you. We want you to be the one writing them, but you can get guidance as how to better do the statement of purpose with the advice that Kaylee also provided today, which was awesome. Así que, no sé, decana. Okay.
No, sí, agradecerles a todos por su participación en este evento y recordarles que cualquier duda, comentario, recuerden que está el correo electrónico de la dirección, escriben a investigación@usma.ac.pa y con mucho gusto se les van a atender cualquier duda que tengan o problema al momento de subir los documentos.
Excelente. Ahí estoy compartiendo también el email de Education USA y el Instagram donde está el flyer también con el QR code para que puedan aplicar.
Bueno, le agradezco a todos por su participación, a Renato, a Kaylee, que vi que se tuvo que retirar. Muchísimas gracias.
No, está ahí.
Está ahí. No la vemos aquí.
Sí,
Kaylee,
no sé.
and
Kaylee, you
Renato,
have to talk. You have to
yes,
talk so they can see you.
okay. Kaylee and Renato, thank you very much. También gracias Gladys, Luis, doctor Luis Herrera, vicerrector, muchísimas gracias. Los estudiantes están muy motivados, tanto en sede Panamá, en sede Chitré ya tenemos personas que están contactándose con las directores de sede, en sede Colón, sede David, y mañana estaríamos conversando con sede Santiago, a ver, pero tenemos pues un número significativo de estudiantes, mujeres y varones, así que va a ser una competencia muy interesante. Muchas gracias y pues seguimos trabajando en conjunto para lograr esto y tener una primera excelente oportunidad y que sea la primera de muchas. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Etana.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great night. Buenas noches. Gracias, chicos, por participar. Seguimos para adelante. Chao.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, Kaylee. Thank you, Renato.
Anytime, happy to do so.
Bye.
Bye.
Buenas noches.
Bye.